Привет! Welcome to the video. So in this video, we're going to check how my students start holding meaningful conversations in Russian in just 5 months. And that's going to be a case study for Russian learners. Okay, so let's go. And these days, there are lots of opportunities to learn, but no results, right? And let's check what's going on. So there are tons of apps, blogs, books, courses, Instagram accounts, YouTube channels, you name it, right? But nevertheless, most Russian learners are still struggling to converse with Russian native speakers. So why does this happen? Let me explain. So meet Richard Irvine from Devon, the UK, and he was a typical Russian learner before we've met. And here's how Richard was learning. So he got his Duolingo and played with it every day. He watched Fedor and Dario on YouTube. He followed several Instagram bloggers and watched their stories. Then he also found a teacher on iTalk and they were practicing once a week, one-on-one, signed up for both Pimsleur and Babbel, even bought short stories in Russian on Amazon. I think you know them as well, but that didn't work. And here's why. So he was facing several problems out there. So on the online courses, he was left to his own devices and there was no one to practice with. And then on one-on-one tutoring sessions, he had no structure at all. They were just chatting, about life. And the books were just chilling on the bookshelf and they were dusty. I mean, like all of those books that he bought. And because they weren't very engaging. So the harsh truth for most Russian learners is that the real communication with Russian native speakers is still very challenging. And it's not possible to hold a regular daily conversation with your friend, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend. And also, there's no one to practice with if you have those, right? And words aren't readily available and it's so hard to build even a simple sentence. So why some Russian learners can speak while others are going blank and struggle to build even a simple sentence in Russian? So the smart learning system makes a difference, right? And it should provide the proper practice, routines, and guidance. So my name is Vladimir and I'm a Russian speaking coach. And in this video, I'll tell you about a simple proven system consisting of just 3 components to help you to speak Russian confidently. Also, you will learn 4 common mistakes every Russian learner makes, 2 things every fluent Russian speaker do and the strugglers do not. Oh, whoops, Zoom does some stuff. And 3 tricks that would help you learn Russian twice faster. So, and that was the same exact system, same strategies that I used to help dozens of Russian learners to improve their speaking skills, and these are my students, right? So now they can easily strike off a meaningful conversation about their daily life and even make jokes in Russian. Some of my students can now speak the language of their loved ones and children even at home, like Dan and Anatoly, and others are comfortably traveling to Russia or Kazakhstan like Mr. Ball did, like Aaron from Australia. And some are able to strike off a conversation with Russian babushka in a Euro market in San Jose, like Nicole. So if you're a Russian learner looking for a smart way to learn, like the way to learn that would provide guidance and accountability, speak more confidently, and understand Russian speech easier, you are definitely in the right place. So now let's get back to Richard to check why he was struggling while speaking Russian. So there are 4 mistakes or problems, right, he was facing. So first, Richard had no one to practice with. There were no human beings to practice with. And Richard didn't have a system or structure in his studies. He just learned here and there without a curriculum. And also, Richard didn't have a reliable source of grammar or vocabulary. Also, of course, Richard didn't know how to learn vocab and was writing separate words with a translation in his copybook. So here's what happened next. He's almost given up because he started to think that, he didn't have a gift for languages. But then we started learning on my mentoring program. And now Richard is able to speak about his everyday life and more in Russian. He's able to understand Russian songs on a much deeper level. And is comfortable to travel to Russian-speaking countries. And he picked Georgia for that. So here's what Richard said about my program eventually. He said that he's happy to confirm that Vladimir speaks the truth. He has learned more in 1 month of studying with Vladimir than in 6 months of trying to learn on his own. So let me tell you why this happened. Last 5 years, I've been creating my own learning system because each of the available solutions was good but incomplete. Moreover, my students needed a simple method with focus on real world communication rather than memorizing the rules and charts, so the method suits you if you want to have a structure and accountability in learning, you want to stop being embarrassed and shy while speaking, and you want to understand Russian speakers easily. Okay, the balloons again. So, and of course, if you want to build sentences smoothly and stop going blank while speaking, always have someone to practice with, and etc. All of those things, right? Also, the system allows you to crack the code of Russian language. And if you already feel that this is right for you, go ahead and apply for the free discovery call right now to check if you qualify. And just hit that button below. And let's go further, okay? So cracking the code of Russian language requires three things: appropriate grammar, appropriate vocab, appropriate speaking practice. We'll go through each of them. Let's start with grammar. So it's the more structures you know, the better, but not all grammar rules are equal. We shouldn't be focusing on teeny tiny details and overanalyze why this gender has that ending. And instead, we should be only learning topics that help us to speak about wide variety of life situations. So let me show you what I mean here. So what if we would think of Russian as a tree? Here's the tree, right? And you're drawing, and there are branches, and there are topics. I mean, like, the branches are the topics and grammar structures that you know. So instead of adding some leaves to a branch that already exists, like right here, which is elaborating grammar, analyzing why this happens, and etc., go ahead and draw other parts of the tree. Learn significant grammar and vocab topics that would cover a whole new area of life. So this one is not okay, so don't go too far, don't go too deep, don't overanalyze. Instead, just build more branches, more leaves, right? So let me show you how this works with notorious verbs of motion, for example. So instead of learning hundreds of forms for every type of transport, like ехать, ходить, ездить, идти, летать, летать, плыть, and etc., you can just use the verb to be. Here's how you do it. So you would just say, он был в Москве, like he was in Moscow. Instead of он ездил в Москву, or я бываю в магазине, I'm in the shop on a regular basis, instead of я часто хожу в магазин. How does it help you? So you need to concentrate on communication and learn new topics rather than dig deeper into some grammatical details of what you already know. So, and let's go, the second part is vocab. Remember the first one was grammar. So let's go into vocab. So why Russian learners know a lot of words but struggle to build sentences. So let's check what's going on here. So because it's not the size or the amount of words that matters, right? It's how you use it. And to use the Russian vocab, you need to do this. Use the literal translation method to understand the mechanics of the language. For example, меня зовут Vladimir isn't my name is Vladimir. It's they call me Vladimir, and actually меня, like they, is omitted there, but it's implied. So this helps you to understand how the language actually works. And let's move on, and that's speaking, right? So, and here we're going to talk about how to overcome embarrassment and the fear of mistakes once and for all. So here's the way. Control is the key. But how do you control the conversation? And it's the question, right? So you control the conversation with questions. And on my program, we use the unique approach of revolver questions. And it's a unique weapon for everyone who wants to speak to a native speaker from the very beginning of the journey. And here's how you use it. For example, the question is, у тебя есть? And you can think of this X as a variable of a revolving part of the question, right? And you can add as many variables as you want. And you basically can have like a 30-minute conversation already just knowing this, and by adding different things. And boom, you are the boss. You know what people usually answer. And then you just expand the amount of those structures, and voila, you are conversational. So there are two ways now. The hard one, you decode Russian language on your own, and you crack the code on your own, right? And the easy and the smart way, you start working with a person who knows exactly what, how, and when should be learned. I mean, this person, right? And here's how the process works. So the first step is to sign up for a free 15-minute discovery call and apply for a free call right now to check if you qualify. I mean, we need to check if I can help you, right? So it's not for everyone. Like the program is not for everyone. So you should see the button right below this video. So please hit that button, fill out the form, and yeah, see you. So пока-пока. Давай.